Hello, everybody. My name is Karen Midlow. I'm a certified end-of-life doula along with a uh, certified grief educator, and I'm joined here with my fellow colleague, Christine Souza, and we are joined with Barbara Karnes. And I have to admit, I am starstruck. This woman has changed my life, and I'm so grateful to be in her presence because I couldn't have got through my father's end of life without her. And I am so eternally grateful. So to be able to have her be with all of us, being willing to donate her time and her energy and her knowledge is just amazing. So Barbara has been in elder care or excuse me, the end of life care for 40 years plus. So she started when she was just a baby and she has been giving and giving for 40 plus years. She has written a book that has been printed or published in over 30 million, having 30 million copies. So it's pretty amazing to have her here. We're grateful to have her on our end of life channel. And thank you, Barbara. I'm going to turn it over to Christine. And Christine, if you'll tell everybody a little bit about you and introduce and start it, that would be awesome.
Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Karen. I am in awe of all of you. I have just this deep gratitude for each of you and all of the work that you're doing. I am Christine Souza, and I am part of the Learn Idaho organization that just helps to bring education and support to our senior community, and just honored to be here. Barbara, last time we spoke, this beautiful gathering of information. I love that you were so willing to be able to provide education to us. And with your valuable time, we were talking about what hospice is last time we spoke. And I recently read a blog of yours, and you shared the blog was titled, Think It Might Be Time to Call Hospice. You're probably right. And that really resonated with me because I think that just in my own personal experience, I have felt like I perhaps waited a little longer than I should have with my own personal loved ones. And so I was wondering if you can expand on that for us. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and I'm always tickled to be here. So we always provide a lot of good information. That's what we're all about. Um, I really learned the hard way about the fact that we tend to not call hospice until way after we need it. My husband died a couple years ago, and I'm this end of life educator and have been for years and years, and yet I didn't see it. I didn't see the time to call. I thought there was more time than he had. And I think the blinders that we caregivers and special people, loved ones, have on are saying, we don't want to see this. Literally, we don't want to see this. So we don't. And
Mm.
then when we're absolutely drowning as caregivers, that's when we reach out for help. When, in essence, end of life care and end of life workers, whether they're hospice or end of life doulas, if you bring them in before you're drowning, you won't get to that place. It'll be hard. I'm not saying that someone you care about who's dying isn't hard. It's hard work, it's hard emotionally. But if you call help in sooner than you think you need it, you will have, I was going to say easier, but it's never easy. But you will have a more supportive road than you would if you were doing it alone.
I so agree with that. One of, uh, thank you for that. I think too, what would be the harm in calling in hospice? The worst thing that could happen is possibly them being saying not being able to qualify. But really, I think isn't the average time on hospice, is it 14 days? It seems like it's so short. And, I listened to a podcast of yours recently. I listened to it again because I just love listening and being educated about end of life. But one of the talks that you shared was about the signs of really when people begin to enter into that transition phase. One of the things that really stuck with me as a hospice nurse that helped me tremendously was pocketing food or just the body really be showing signs that we may not really be able to pick up on. And I was wondering, could you expand on that a little bit about what the possible signs might be?
Sure. First, I'll say there's really only two ways to die. You either die fast, you get run over by a truck, um, or you develop a disease that's not fixable. And when you're dying a gradual death, and old age can be a gradual death also. And these signs that I'm going to talk about also occur when the body's just old and wearing out. It's just that it takes longer. So, for someone who has from months before death, there are three things that you can watch for. Three things start happening. One is a person's eating habits change. And months before death, they're going to stop eating meat. And then pretty soon it's fruits and vegetables. And then it's soft foods. And then they gradually get to the point in the weeks before death. They're hardly taking anything. Maybe some ice cream. We love our ice creams. Ice cream goes a long way. But a person in the weeks before death, probably not eating anything. Again, months before death, our sleeping habits change. 2 to 3 to 4 months. It starts with an afternoon nap. I'm tired. I'm just going to go lay down. And then pretty soon it's a morning and an afternoon nap. And then they're in bed asleep more than they're awake. And one day they don't get out of bed. And in the weeks 1 to 3 before death, they're not getting out of bed. They're really preparing at that point to go into labor, and we can talk about that later. The third thing that happens is a person's socialization changes. And months 2 to 3 to 4 before death comes, a person isn't interested in their favorite things. The football fan that, oh my gosh, watches the football game, tracks it, not interested really anymore. And then it's, you know, I like the church ladies, but don't have them come over. I'm too tired. And then it's, I love the grandkids, but no, don't have them come over. We're bringing our circle of socialization and going within, because within us is where we're doing our work now. We're processing our life. We're looking at this big billion piece jigsaw puzzle that we call a life. And inside, we're trying to put those together. And there's only room for one in doing this. And so, as when we get to the point that labor begins, we're totally within. So, you really don't even have to know the person's diagnosis. You don't even have to know what their disease is. You don't even have to know if there is a disease. If you see these processes going on in the months before death actually comes, that's when you go to the doctor if you haven't been to a doctor and say something's wrong here. Because those are the signs of approaching death.
Wow, Barbara, that is so awesome. It's simple, but yet not easy, right? Simple but not easy. Knowing those three tools or those three tips is really important. Thank you very much. We are again so grateful to have Barbara join us. I hope you can see my t-shirt, my sweatshirt, which says, can you read it? People Don't Die Like They Do in the Movies by Barbara Karnes. Barbara's got all kinds of information that you can get from her website, which is at bkbooks.com. We invite you to follow her blog, sign up for her newsletters. Barbara, thank you. We look forward to joining you next month, where we'll find some more information from you about hospice. Thank you for being here. Thank you,
Oh,
Christine.
thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to next month. Have a
Us
great
too.
month.
Us too. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Barbara.